Hello guys. So right now it's about 10 p.m. at night and I'm in my mom's car because I decided to film a video because I don't know, I'm just bored and I feel like I have a lot of things to say. So that's why I decided to film a video right now and talk about some stuff that trans women experience. So let's start talking about some stuff. And one of the things that I want to touch base on is the male validation that trans women girls, have you ever like experienced something like, let's say, girls compliment like, okay, oh my god, you look so good right now, you look so good, I like the way you look, you don't feel anything, but when a guy compliments you, suddenly you feel like the cuntiest girl in the world. Like, have you ever felt that before, like growing up? When you still started your transition, like, have you ever like experienced that? Because I experienced that. So before I became a confident woman, now I was such an insecure boy. I was so insecure to the point where even if the ugliest guy in my school compliment me, I would be the happiest gay boy alive. You know, like male validation at that time when I was in my teenage years meant so much for me. Okay, here's a little context about myself, right? I have never been in a relationship. I've never experienced any sexual relations with guys. I think it's more so because I was scared. I had a reputation. Sorry, there's a guy who's like trying to call me. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so sorry, there was a guy calling me. Fuck. Back then, I was such an insecure guy. I was such an insecure little gay boy. I've never been in a relationship. I've never had any sexual relations with a guy. Whenever like a guy compliments me, suddenly it meant the world to me. Because oh my god, I got noticed by a guy. You see, shame on you guys. Like this guy is like noticing me, and whereas you guys weren't get noticed. Again, a little bit of context. I am friends with a lot of trans women, like beautiful trans women, as well as straight girls. These girls would always get into relationships, and I would always look at them from the sideline. Oh my god, they're getting into a relationship, while me, on the other hand, stayed single. So because at that time my perspective was still fucked up. Because at that time I felt like in order for me to feel beautiful, I had to have a boyfriend, right? So it led me to accept boys trying to touch me. I don't know how do I put it. So a little story time when I was in like high school, because I didn't know how it felt to be with a guy. Okay, this is like TMI. I had not masturbated and I was 15 years old at that time. So I didn't know how masturbating feel. I didn't know how like orgasm felt like. So there was this one guy in my school who popped that cherry for me for the first time. And I was like, why did it feel good while I was like getting to that orgasmic feeling? And then why after the orgasmic feeling I felt so bad? I felt like I was the dirtiest girl in the world. Do you know that after I had orgasm, I ran quickly to the chapel beside my school and knelt down and prayed and asked for forgiveness because I felt so dirty and I felt so bad for myself. And then worse, I had a reputation for being one of the best students in school. I was doing well in academics and I was scared that people would find out or he would tell other people that he made me come. So I was really, really scared that our little naughty moment will be leaked for the whole world to know. And I don't know. So I never did any sexual stuff again after that up until I was 18 years old. So when I reached 18 years old, I moved away from my parents and I studied in Kuala Lumpur because I used to reside in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. So for me to study, I moved Kuala Lumpur. And let me tell you, I experienced a lot of my firsts. I smoked for the first time. I went to the club for the first time. I drank alcohol for the first time. I did for the first time. And also, which is the most relevant for this video, for this story time, is that I had sex for the first time. Because I was away from my parents, I got to explore a lot of like sexual experiences. You get what I mean? So when I was 18 years old, I was still at the beginning stage of my transition. So I didn't look super passable back then. I still look like daydam-ish, non-binary daydam-ish type of vibes, short hair, but my outfits are pretty feminine. So I did a lot of like sexual stuff, and I did that almost every day with men, to the point where I even went to school with hickeys. It was short-lived, it was my whole face, but it was short-lived. And then after that, few months after, I took hormones. If you're a trans woman, usually you would take estrogen pills, and then you couple that with testosterone to block it. You couple that with testosterone blocker to block your testosterone level. So here, suddenly my sex drive went from super horny to like none, like to literally a Carmelite nun. You get what I mean? Like was, girl, my sex drive was negative 5,000. Like I didn't want anything to do with guys. I look at the guys that I used to fuck and I wanted to vomit because I felt so disgusting looking at them, because oh my god, they look so dirty to me because I used to fuck them. Because when I was 18 years old, the male validation for me was that, I got to have sex with guys, and I felt so beautiful whenever guys find me sexually attractive. But after I took hormones, that type of male validation that I needed shifted from wanting to have sex with men into wanting attention from guys. Do you get what I mean? So instead of like wanting to have sex with guys, I wanted like guys to like look at me. I wanted everybody to see that this guy finds me attractive. So I would do everything in my power for that guy to like notice me. And then especially that at that phase of my life, there are less and less people who couldn't tell that I was trans because of the physical changes from the estrogen and the testosterone blocker that I took. More and more people couldn't tell that I was trans. That shut up my ego a little bit more. So I was like, oh my god, this guy, first of all, this guy doesn't know I'm trans. He sees me, or they see me as like a normal straight girl, and then oh my god, they treat me like a normal straight girl. And I was like kind of addicted to that feeling of how straight guys like treated me if they didn't know I was trans. So I was like, for that whole time, I would try to conceal my trans identity. I would heighten my pitch. So although I was out, but I was still in the closet. Do you get what I mean? Like I didn't want people to know I was trans. Like for me at that time, the goal was to pass as like a straight, normal, basic girl, which is very like very, very unhealthy or very toxic to our mental health, to a transgender women's mental health. And although like I enjoyed like being a woman, but at the same time I still felt empty, because although I was myself, I still couldn't be myself, because deep down I know that when they know I'm trans, they wouldn't treat me the same way anymore. You get what I mean? So yeah, because a lot of the times whenever like those guys found out I was trans, either from people ratting me out, or from them finding out themselves, probably like, they heard my voice, or they saw my Instagram, because I was like really, really open about me being trans on Instagram. They would suddenly treated me so different. I think a lot of trans girls would understand what I'm talking about, but then still I couldn't help myself. I like being treated like a straight girl, because at the end of the day, because when you're a straight girl, people respect you regardless whether these are like guys or girls. They respect you, versus when you're trans, like girls see you as a joke, they don't take you seriously, and guys see you as like a disease to a certain extent. Like they don't want to have anything to do with you, and then all of a sudden, and then like they have this preconceived notion of who you are as a person without even try to get to know you. So that's why I'm like, oh my god. At that time I didn't realize that it was the fault is on theirs, the issue is on them and not me. I failed to see that at that time because there were no trans women to educate me on this. There were no people to tell me that, okay, the issue is on them and not you. And I had to figure that on my own, mind you. I was like the only trans girl. So for so many times, I was the only trans girl in so many aspects, in so many things. Like in so many like places, I'm always the only trans girl. In almost every space that I go to, I'm like the only trans girl. Imagine this, like for 3 years that I was in Kuala Lumpur, I only met one trans girl. One trans girl who was nice to me. That's it. And then after I finished studying in Kuala Lumpur, I went straight to the Philippines to continue my degree. You know how I told you guys, like in Malaysia, more and more people couldn't tell that I was trans. In the Philippines, everybody can tell I was trans. It was such a culture shock to me because, like, my preconceived notion was that, or my idea of the Philippines was that the Philippines is like it's a safe space for like LGBTQ plus people because of vice ganda. Because I don't know, like I always assumed that the Philippines would be more like accepting. I not to say that Malaysia is an accepting country for trans women. What I'm saying is that, or what I mean is that I thought if Malaysia could treat me like relatively well, the Philippines would treat me better. No, you get what I mean? But that sadly wasn't the case. When I first went into a store in the Philippines, I was instantly greeted with, "Yes, sir, may I help you?" Sir. I was like, "What do you mean, sir?" I was like, huh? I had to like look at him and say, like, what? Believe it or not, that's just the beginning. Actually, I just knew that in the Philippines, trans women and gay men were perceived the same. I was like, what? They were seen as one and the same because like I think it's because like there's like Miss Gay or something, and then like trans women follow like competitions like that as well. Like even trans women in the Philippines call themselves as I'm gay, I'm gay. I was like, girl. So I was like, okay, no wonder. Yeah, so I couldn't really blame like Filipino people for calling me sir. So the least I could do was like correct them and say like, oh, I'm not sir, I am ma'am or miss. Please call me by female pronouns. Like, that's so weird calling me sir. And previously I told you guys like, okay, I wanted to live my life, or the goal was to live my life as like a biological girl, like a normal girl. But I couldn't live like that in the Philippines because everybody seemed to know my tea. Everybody seemed to know that I was trans already. So like at first it did affect my self-esteem a little bit because like I never wanted to be seen or perceived as a guy. Like if you ask any trans woman, they don't want to be seen or perceived as a guy. They want to be seen and perceived as a woman, as like a normal like woman. That's the end goal, of course. But unfortunately, that's a little unrealistic because people have like a different perception of how women are. And because like I was being called sir for so many times, like my focus wasn't to get a guy's attention. My focus is to like educate people about who I am as a person. Because I think the problem at that time was that a lot of people there was uneducated about trans women and all. So the focus at that time was to educate people like, okay, so like I'm not a gay man, I'm a trans woman, I'm a woman, and da, 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 da. And then along the way I began to notice how shitty guys are. Like guys would treat me like shit in the Philippines, right? And not only straight guys would treat me like shit, even gay men, as actually especially gay men. A lot of gay men treated me worse than straight guys in the Philippines, right? So at least straight guys, they would make fun of me directly towards my face and say stuff like Raul. So Raul is like a term to like make fun of trans women. I don't even know where that came from. So Raul, Barbie. Actually, I like Barbie, so whatever. Barbie and all that. But gay man took the insulting to a whole nother level. So instead of insulting you, they would like rat you out. So for example, like if a guy flirts with me in the club or like somewhere, a guy just randomly flirts with me, and then I was at that time hanging out with like a random gay guy. This gay dude will rat me out. He would be like, okay, oh by the way, she's trans. And then whenever a guy just like flirts with me because he just finds me beautiful, and then the gay guy will be like, he flirts with you because he thinks you're a girl. I was like, I am a girl though. What do you mean? From there, I just realized that man ain't shit. Man ain't shit. At the same time, I saw how men here treat their women. They seem like they hate women. Such a cringy thing for me to watch girls being jealous over men, like overreacting over guys who look at a woman. And then girls putting down other girls to make themselves look good in front of a guy. Imagine that these guys are shitty guys. Shitty guys. I was like, girl, you do all of that for this 5'9" loser? Get the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck out of here. You, girl. That's why from that I realized that men ain't shit. And a lot of men hate women. Like, a lot of men hate women. Like, they abuse women. I have seen that in real life. And I've seen, like, recordings of those. Like, I'm not gonna rat people out. I'm not gonna say names and all, but like, I have seen that. And I don't think I want to subject myself to that sort of torture. Like, you never know. I know this girl, and this guy looks super innocent in real life. And then suddenly she sent me picture of how the guy treated her. I saw bruises on her arm. I saw videos of how she was being mistreated by the guy. I was like, I don't want to subject myself to that. Like, you never know. You would never know which guy you would end up with. And I am a beautiful girl, and I take pride of how I look. I don't want to look busted out of that relationship. I don't want to look busted just because I am desperate to be with a guy, you know. And then also, do you realize that a lot of like single women look better or have a better glow up compared to women who are already married? Something to like think about. You get what I mean? But of course, that is if you are a shallow person like me, because I want to look beautiful for my age, you know. Like, I just don't want to, I don't know. I don't want to risk myself being with the wrong guy, you know. That's why right now, getting a guy's attention is not even like something that I care anymore. I really don't care about what guys think about me. That's why right now, you see me talking like this. Usually, when I was younger, I don't talk like this. I talk like this. Okay, like, imagine how tiring it is for me to speak like this. Okay, so I sounded better though. I sounded better, of course, because I haven't done that voice for like a very long time. But before, I had to like strain my voice for like a long period of time because I wanted the guy to not know I was trans. And I wanted the guy to treat me like a woman. But right now, here I am talking like this. The only thing that makes me happy if I look good. And the only thing that makes me happy is, like, let's say my hair, or if my makeup looks good, or if the lighting looks good, or if this video looks good, you know, that makes me happy. Or if I wear like a sickening outfit, that makes me happy right now. Like, although coming to the Philippines, it took the hardest hit to my self-esteem of because of how people like treated me as a trans woman. However, it made me realize that men ain't shit. And it made me realize that, okay, right now I don't want to care about guys anymore. I want to focus on making myself happy. And thank God that it did. And also, it really helped if your like frontal lobe developed also, because you know I'm already like pushing 30 now. This year, I'm recording this in 2025. I'm turning 28 this year. Fuck me. So yeah, if you girls are dealing with, you know, wanting to have male validation, or if you think male validation means everything to you, if you're young, girl, you'll learn to get past that. Trust me. Life experience will teach you to get past that. But if you're like an older trans woman, I suggest you to figure a way to like not let male validation define who you are ASAP. Because trust me, when I tell you men ain't shit, you would look better if you have some self-respect and don't care about what guys think of you. Men ain't shit. Of course, unless if they're paying your bills and all that, that's an exception. If they're paying your bills, girl, get that bag, girl. I won't disturb your bag. Go get that bag. But if men haven't done anything like life changing to you, girl, trust me, men ain't shit. It is better for you to like focus on how you look first rather than thinking, oh my god, if like Jake sees me like this, would he like me? Girl, my advice to you, especially to young trans women, you have to have some self-respect, right? Do not let these guys sway you with their sweet words, because at the end of the day, their words are just words. They don't mean anything. You think you're the first girl they call beautiful. Girl, have you seen their DMs? Have you? Girl, this man would literally fuck anything that walks. I'm telling you this. I am telling you right now. When I was like younger, when I was like 18 years old, when I was like busted, when I still look busted, like non-binary, they damn busted, like I didn't feel so confident about myself. I had a lot of guys wanting to fuck me. Okay, I fuck a lot of guys when I was like still in the beginning of my transition, and then after I started to look more feminine, suddenly like less and less guys approach me, which is weird. I was like, I thought it would be the other way around. I thought more guys would want to fuck me because like I look more feminine, I look more girly. Now turns out that the reason why I got a lot of guys at that time when I was like younger and like inexperienced and ugly, it's because I was easy, right? I was easy. And they took advantage of my insecurity because, I was still insecure about my look. And then they sway me with like their words like, oh my God, you're beautiful, you're cute, you're this, you're that, so that they can get fucked, Girls, how I want to end this video is this: men ain't shit. Have some self respect, and eventually, the right guy, trust me. I might be single now, but the right guy will come to you. I mean it. Okay? Do not chase after guys. Because if you chase after guy, you will only end up with the wrong guy. Okay? Love you guys and see you in the next one. Bye bye.